So I'm here at Top Car Sales in Inverness today, having a look at this beautiful A6 S-Line. This dealer here is run by an old friend of mine. He sold me 4 cars over the years, and I'd probably buy another one if something good came in. So let's take a closer look, shall we? So it may not look exciting, but oh yes it is. This is the Audi A6 AVANT 3-litre bi-turbo Quattro S-Line with over 300 horsepower. This thing is nuts. This particular A6 is a top-of-the-line model. It's got everything. You've got your paddle shift, self-parking, adaptive cruise, keyless entry, keyless start. You name it, the toys are in here. And yeah, okay, the iDrive system doesn't have a touchscreen, but that doesn't really pose too much of an issue. The styling is very German. It's very subtle, but at the same time, it's still got that raunchiness to it. The wheel size, the way it all sits in the arch, the privacy glass, the lines, the smoothness around the place, and then even things like heading towards the back where you see the twin exhausts and the little lip at the bottom of the bumper, the tiny spoiler up there that's just enough. All of this adds together to create this lovely feel that it is in fact a sleeper, a wolf in sheep's clothing. The sticker price is $18,995, and personally speaking, I think it's worth every penny. So looking in, you can see that the door card's all very sleek, but it's all very singular in its colour. The piano black finish there you can get various different inserts for. And you notice the switches have that look and premium feel with the metallic look around the outside. It really gives it something nice that's missing in a lot of the imports I've been looking at. And you'll notice the boot release is right there, and this is a power close and open tailgate on this model. Onto the seats themselves, you'll notice the full electrics controls there. They're pretty much like most cars, so I don't imagine anyone will have any difficulty. The seats themselves, being the S-Line ones, are really quite pretty, and they're incredibly comfortable to sit in. I'll not deny I was very impressed. I often like to talk about the cup holder count and placement. Yes, you know I do. And this one does that job very nicely. The 2 up front is just fine. The pedals are well spaced and there's a good sized footrest there. You couldn't do better than that, really. The steering wheel itself is, again, great design, looks fabulous, has the S-Line badge on it, and is full leather. You know how much I despise these horrible, nasty plastic steering wheels that I find in so many cars these days. They really get on my nerves. The lights are over here. Yeah, I prefer that to them being on stocks myself. What's this up here? Well, as it turns out, that's a projection that goes up onto the windscreen to give you your speed output and other such wonderful things. It's probably unnecessary, but it's a nice quirky toy. The air vents, again, are well sized, very practical, and suit the aesthetics nicely. You'll see there the steering wheel control buttons are all clearly labelled, very easy to get to, and you'll figure them out in no time at all. Audi decided in their infinite wisdom to take all the buttons from the dash and put them next to the gear stick. As a result, it looks a little crowded over here, you know, with the iDrive buttons and the start and the e-brake, and I couldn't quite figure out what this little pad was on the right hand side there. It shows the numbers that look like the gear selection. Anyway, onto the cup holders and then the storage area behind that, which is reasonable size and has a 12-volt socket and the audio interface. As I mentioned earlier, this thing's keyless entry, keyless start, so when you press the start button, everything comes to life. And that screen comes up with a violent thud. It's maybe should be a touch slower. The dials themselves, very legible, very clear, and it's funny the way the left and the right circular dials stick up a little bit from the screen. It's difficult to portray that on this video, but when you're driving it, it feels a little strange to begin with. You get used to it. The driver's seat has 2 electric memory seat positions, but the passenger side has none. We mentioned the seats, but how about how spacious it is? Well, the steering wheel is, again, fully adjustable. You can set that to wherever you want. The center console is large and chunky, but it doesn't really get in the way. The main issue I had was actually with the headlining above here, because it's very dark, and as a result, it makes the cabin feel smaller. And that can leave you with a little bit of a claustrophobic feel. Also, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, as I mentioned in previous videos, but somebody who's, say, 6'2" or something might be struggling with the head height that's available.
You might ask, what are these funny black things on the mirror? Well, that's the blind spot monitoring system. It lights up when there's something to the side of you and the sensors pick it up. It's a unique way of doing it. I much prefer the Jaguar way, where they just put a light in behind the mirror glass, but it works.
So the rear seats follow the same aesthetic style as the fronts, and you'll notice there's plenty of legroom here, and an oversized net. This is fantastic. Why can more companies not do this? And it's a hard-wearing back on it. And you'll notice there are separate climate controls for the rear and a 12-volt socket. Pretty standard, but this transmission tunnel is huge.
Full ISOFIX mounts in the back. Yeah, that's good. As mentioned before, this one has the power tailgate. The disappointing thing is the luggage space isn't as much as I would have thought for an Avant. So excuse my fumbling around with one hand. I was holding the camera in the other hand. But you'll notice there's 3 layers there, including this final piece of plastic here, where it gives you access to a space saver wheel, which is far better than some of these cars have now. I am sick and tired of these stupid tire inflation kits. Nobody likes them. We'd all just rather have a spare wheel. Well, Eddie, bravo for squeezing that in there. I must admit, I'm not a huge fan of this unified design that Volkswagen and Audi are going through right now, where all their models look the same. But you'll notice there's very subtle differences. And here's another interesting one. I thought there weren't any fog lights in this. As it turns out, they're just heavily tinted.
Volkswagen and Audi really know how to do it. It sounds good when it's driving, it just purrs along while it's idling. It's a really impressive sound. Right then, we're back at the dual carriageway. Let's see what she does. Wow, just boom, and go. And that's fast enough. That was 70, just like that, no problem. Effortless, just continues to give you power the whole way through, in every single gear, all the way up the rev range. Just phenomenal. For its size and weight, I'm just finding it spot on for that.
And then my audio was corrupted, so I guess I'll just have to talk over this bit. It's really hard to put down to you in words just how quick this sleeping giant really is. I came out of the junction there at about 2nd gear, maybe doing around about 25. And the next minute was 3rd, 4th, 5th. And that was it, that's all I had. Up to 70 miles an hour. Of course, after that, I've still got 3 gears to go. This is an 8-speed auto transmission. This car gives you power all the way through the rev range, in virtually any gear except 8th. And the power steering, it's got this adaptive system that makes it light as a feather when you're running slow, and it stiffens up when you get up to speed. A lot of cars have this now, but this system's really good. I was impressed at how natural it feels in the corners, and just how agile it is for its size and weight. Audi seemed to have cracked that wonderful balance between style, comfort, performance and finesse that my XJ couldn't pull off, that a lot of other cars I've driven can't pull off. It's really quite impressive. I used to own an Audi A3 Turbo years ago, and I can't tell you how head and shoulders above this car is than what I used to own. Audi have come a long way.
So I found this A6 to be an absolute joy to drive. Plenty of luggage space, good handling, great comfort, a fair amount of performance too with 300 horsepower. And just overall I was very impressed at how good an all-rounder it is. I would definitely have considered owning one at some point, but obviously now that I have more children I can't. It just wouldn't be practical for me anymore. But I understand why it's popular, I understand why people buy it, and I understand why people love it.
Well, hopefully you all enjoyed that one. I certainly did. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw, and don't forget to check out some of the other stuff we've done. I've got 2 thumbnails up there just now, the Nissan Cube, which I did recently. That was my import one, and I've also done UK spec cars, including the horrendous review of the Prima Star. Yeah, I didn't like that one much. I still don't. I've made some changes to that one, and I will have to make another video soon on the changes that I've made to it to try and improve it. I also want to say thanks to the gents at Top Car Inverness for looking after me again and giving me this lovely car to review. I'll hopefully be looking at more of their stock soon. If you're interested in seeing their website or contacting them, I'll leave links in the description for that. I'm always on the hunt for new cars to review, not just imports, just about anything I'll tackle. Especially if it's personal to you. If you've gotten this far in the video and you either know somebody or you have something yourself that you want to see featured, you can always drop us a message. I'll leave some links in the description for how you can get hold of us. But for now though, look after yourselves.